Daddy? 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 Where's Daddy? Where's Nancy? Around this time, already she was tired. I was also in bad condition. So yes, we got there to the theater. It wasn't easy. I remember already Precious was almost, being born through the birth canal. Like she had stuck. She had stuck there. Remember, she's a big baby. She couldn't come out. And she was not able to, to be born. So she got stuck. I went to the theater. I remember at some point in the theater, I asked them that why were they telling me to sit down. I insisted if they could do it for full body, such that I could sleep. I didn't mind by then if I was to sleep for a whole day, but we could save Precious. But they told me, no, you have to sit down. Like I had to sit down on that theater's bed for the anesthesia, so that Precious could be. At that point, actually, I called it to be removed because already she was stuck. So yeah, that's what happened. I think at that point, they didn't care much about Precious. I was at that point whereby the doctor says, let's save the mother and let the baby die. Yeah, that's where we were. So, but I thank God she never died because God had a plan for her. So that happened. She was removed. I remember immediately when she was, she was born. Yeah, but still, you see, she was removed. So when she was born, I remember the doctor brought her to my face just to look at her, and I couldn't be able to look at her because I remember actually I looked at her once and I faced on the other side because what I saw was bad. Precious, you remember I had said that she was stuck. So what happened? She had gotten a head injury, like all her forehead was protruding, and she was struggling to breathe. So it was such a bad picture. Just looking at her. Actually, I didn't look at her for more than a minute. I looked at her once and I faced on the side.
So welcome back to our YouTube channels. When we would like you to introduce to our people. Najua kuna wenye hawakujui.
Yeah.
Kindly introduce yourself to our people.
Okay. Hello there. My name is Mama Precious, or Caro Wambui Chege, or Blessings Bonnie on Facebook. You'll find me there. I'm a special mom to Precious Blessing, who is living with severe cerebral palsy. We live in Nairobi, Kenya, but I was born in Nakuru, a place called Menengai West, that is opposite Kabarak. I was born there, I was raised there, and it's still where I schooled. And after some years, I came to Nairobi through my brother George, who used to work in Nairobi, and it used to be my dream that one day I'll come here. And I thank God, finally the dream came true. I came. I'm in Nairobi now, and I'm married to one Mr. Boniface Chege, my husband, a man that I love so much, a man that I treasure. He means a lot in my life, and he's my support system in this CP awareness or cerebral palsy awareness. Cerebral palsy is a condition, and it's not a disease. It's a condition, it's a pre-existing condition. What I mean is a condition that came because something happened. Yeah, like for our daughter Precious, she got it through negligence at the hospital during delivery. Her pregnancy was okay all throughout until the last minute when she was being born. So she got it, and this condition is permanent unless the Lord does a miracle of healing. Like it affects the brain, total damage of the brain, such that such a person or such a baby cannot live a normal life. The baby becomes, like a total dependent on people or to the family, or just the baby needs total support. So the brain damage is such a strong condition that is irreversible. Yeah. So we are blessed with a CP baby. CP in full is cerebral palsy. Precious, who is now 8 years. So she got this condition at the hospital due to doctor's negligence. Remember, I had mentioned that Precious was 4.2 kgs at birth, and I was supposed to be taken for a CS. But because of the negligence that we faced at the hospital, I was taken for an emergency CS. After they had noted that me and Precious were in a critical condition, whereby it had taken long, that Precious had already lacked oxygen. She was tired, including myself. And so, yes, we were taken for the emergency, yes, whereby around this time, already she was tired. I was also in bad condition. So, yes, we got there to the theater. It wasn't easy. I remember already Precious was almost, being born through the birth canal. Like she had stuck. She had stuck there. Remember, she's a big baby. She couldn't come out. And she was not able to, to be born. So she got stuck. I went to the theater. I remember at some point in the theater, I asked them that why were they telling me to sit down so that, they could put this anesthesia, what do we call the medication? Anesthesia, yeah. So I insisted if they could do it for full body, such that I could sleep. I didn't mind by then if I was to sleep for a whole day, but we could save Precious. But they told me no, you have to sit down. Like I had to sit down on that theater bed for the anesthesia, so that Precious could be. At that point, actually, I called it to be removed because already she was stuck. So yeah, that's what happened. I think at that point, they didn't care much about Precious. I was at that point whereby the doctor says, let's save the mother and let the baby die. Yeah, that's where we were. So, but I thank God she never died because God had a plan for her. So that happened. She was removed. I remember immediately when she was, she was born. Yeah, but still, you see, she was removed. So when she was born, I remember the doctor brought her to my face just to look at her, and I couldn't be able to look at her because I remember actually I looked at her once and I faced on the other side because what I saw was bad. Precious, you remember I had said that she was stuck. So what happened? She had gotten a head injury, like all her forehead was protruding, and she was struggling to breathe. So it was such a bad picture. Just looking at her. Actually, I didn't look at her for more than a minute. I looked at her once and I faced on the side. So they took her. There's something that a fluid that they put on her mouth. Sorry, a fluid that they put it in her mouth. I don't know the work of that one, but I saw them doing that. They did that, and then immediately they rushed her to the nursery. The nursery is NBU. So all this time, I didn't know that Precious had gotten some, like a condition. I had maybe just imagined that it was just something written within a day or two. She could recover and we could go home. So I was taken back to the ward, whereby I met the doctor, the midwife who we were together, who was looking after my labor, how it was moving on. Yeah. So I remember telling him like, you see now finally Precious has been taken to the nursery and I was calling on you. Remember during that negligence, what was happening is that the labor was extra normal. It wasn't normal. The normal labor usually lasts like for just a few minutes and then it's off, on, off, like whereby you are able to, to breathe. But this one, it was non-stop. It was so intense. I could call the doctors, the nurses that were there to just come and attend to me because I was just feeling something was not going on well because remember Precious is a third born. So the fact that I had given birth to 2 other kids, so at least I had an idea of how labor is supposed to, to proceed. So that happened. I remember I didn't see her for that day again. The labor had started around 10 in the morning until 2 in the evening. That's when I was taken for the emergency CS. So I didn't get a chance to see Precious that day again until the following day around 10 in the morning. So in this mission hospital, between the room that the mother of CS where like where they board is opposite the nursery, the NBU. Yeah, so I got to meet her the following day morning around 10. Okay, I was taken there. I went, I saw Precious, and I didn't click that something was that serious. I was told to breastfeed her. She was not able, because a CP baby or a child that has gone through brain damage, there are things that they are not able to do by themselves unless they are assisted. Okay, so I was told to breastfeed her. It was not possible. Then I was told to express her milk each day. Each time I was given some certain millimeters that she could take. So that's what I was doing. We stayed in the hospital for like a week, whereby Precious was being treated. So what happened during the struggle of her being born, amniotic fluid went into her lungs, and so she had some chances of getting infections. That's why she was in the nursery to be treated for the amniotic fluid, and also just to be checked, because they knew already Precious had this condition, but it's just that they couldn't tell me about it. But we stayed there for that 1 week. She was treated, and then we went home after the 1 week. But a lot still happened there in the hospital. In that 1 week, we almost lost her 3 times. Like Precious survived death 3 times in that hospital, and we thank God because she came out. She still came out, even though her life was changed. So the first experience was when she was being born. Remember, she lacked oxygen. You know, lacking oxygen, that means like almost dying. Then also after she was taken to the NBU, I remember one morning I went to check on her, because remember she was in an incubator, whereby I used to go and check on her. So I used to go there. My heart was very down. I used to go check on her. I could touch her hands, her legs. I could talk to her, and I used to tell her, Precious, get well, baby. We go home. We have a family that really loves us, and they are waiting to see us. So this particular day, I went there as I could. I was doing my usual thing, touching her, talking to her. I noticed that she was very freezing. She was so cold. And I wondered like what was happening. So immediately I checked on her, and I noted, because already she was on a drip, whereby she was being given the glucose, water with glucose for her energy, and also the medication, the IV. So what had happened in that hospital, they used to have a lot of students that they were engaging. Like they could have like almost 20 kids, but the doctor was only one, and the rest were students. So what had happened, one of the students who was attending Precious had missed the vein. Instead of inserting the vein, inserting the glucose water in her vein, actually she just put it somewhere on her skin. So what was happening, the water was flowing but was not getting in her body. It was going down all the way to where she was sleeping. So her beddings were that wet. So they were so wet, and that's what was making her to be that cold. So I just called the doctor. I was like, Doctor, can you come? The doctor was so worried, like he was concerned. He was like, what's happening? So he came very fast. He came, I told him, Precious is so wet. Yeah, he touched Precious, and he felt the way Precious was cold. He got panicked, and also he called the students who were there. But then he didn't talk to me again. I saw them exchanging the beddings for Precious. They adjusted the heat for the incubator that Precious was, and they returned her back. They corrected the mistake that was there, and I was so worried about it. They said nothing about it, but actually it was bad. It was bad. So after that, what happened? Because they panicked, because of the way Precious already had been so cold. Because of that panic, kind of they adjusted too much heat. So what happened also, in a few minutes time, Precious got burned in that incubator, such that she produced a lot of big pimples all around her face. I still have the photos for memory. That was her third experience in the hospital of nearly dying, but we thank God because God saved her. So after the 1 week, we went home. Remember, nobody ever told us that she has gotten a condition or anything about the baby. Actually, after the 1 week, we were just dismissed. We went. We were given the. We were. What do you say? We were dismissed. We went home, and we were told after some days our baby will be okay. So we never thought it was anything so big. So we came home. We stayed. After like 2 weeks, I was told to go back for the checkup, of which we went. So because I had gone through the CS, so we went back for a checkup of my incision, whether it was healing well. Yeah, I thank God it was okay. And pressure, yeah, they also checked on her, even though they never told us anything like Precious had gotten a condition. So we went for the clinic, all was well, and we came back home. Now we continued with life. Precious at this time, she started breastfeeding. Remember, by the time we were leaving the hospital, she hadn't started breastfeeding. What I did, I told them that Precious was able to breastfeed because they had told me they were only going to release me to go home if only Precious was able to breastfeed. Remember that I said Precious is third born. So ahead of her, we have 2 more children, and by then they were young. They were between 5 years and 7 years. And so when I was at the hospital, they would call and they would really cry. Before that, we hadn't gotten such a chance of separation for so long. So they would call me, "Mommy, why are you not coming home? Why are you not bringing us the baby?" Oh, it was so hectic. And so at some point, I just decided to tell them, like, yeah, Precious can breastfeed, just to be able to be released. So we went home. And yeah, after a few days at home, I thank God because Precious was able to breastfeed. Initially, what I was doing was still expressing the milk and giving her, and she was still taking it well. So after some few days at home, she was able to breastfeed nicely, which made me very happy. So she continued with breastfeeding, and that was good until when she was 3 months. When she was 3 months, she developed this cry of just from nowhere. She could just wake up from the midst of sleeping and she could just scream and cry. So she did like this for 2 days, and then we were like with my husband, no, maybe something is wrong with this baby, because that wasn't normal, like whereby a baby is sleeping and then all of a sudden she could just wake up, scream, cry for 2 minutes and then go back and sleep, just like nothing ever happened. So she did like that. So we decided to go back. Yes, when we go to the hospital, we talked to the chief pediatrician. Remember, we went back to the same hospital whereby she was born. Yeah. So the chief pediatrician checked on her. He never told us anything about that, but what he did, he introduced to us some medications that were anticonvulsants, of which we didn't know. So they gave us the medications, and the doctor told me, "Mama Precious, you have to be strict on these medications. Like each day, if you be giving her in the evening at 7, make sure every day you keep it that way, and no missing, and you have to keep the time. It is strict." We never thought it was anything serious. So we did it like that. And then he told us, just before the medications are over, like when there are 2 remaining, make sure you come back for more. Wow. So you are like, what is this? What is this being treated here? And we are not aware. So we did like that. We went back for like 2 months. After 2 months, we decided to ask the doctor, like, what's happening here? Like, what are we treating? And you're not telling us about it. So the doctor was like, Mama Precious, you remember when Precious was being born, you went through some difficulties. Yeah, so don't compare Precious with any other child. Your child is different, and she might have slow milestones. So just appreciate your baby the way she is, and move on, give her the care that she needs. And the doctor still never mentioned to us that Precious already has gotten the cerebral palsy. But what he did was he introduced to us therapy sessions, whereby she was supposed to be attending it 3 times a week. So we still started it in that hospital. It was expensive because of already we had started the anticonvulsants, the therapy sessions. It wasn't anything affordable or easy, but we tried it, and we went there for some months in the same hospital. As still we could source around our place where we live, if we could find a cheaper, affordable place. So we started the journey of therapy, whereby now I had to stop the business that I was doing. Initially, I used to have a house girl who would help me. But now, after Precious was born, like that, just a few months, like 2 months, I already I had gone back to my business that was doing very well. But we realized that the house girl was not able to take care of Precious, so we had to release her, and I was the one in charge now of taking Precious care. We agreed that with my husband, that he could just stay at home, take good care of Precious, because the girl was neglecting Precious totally. So we started this new lifestyle whereby I could take her for therapy on Monday, relax on Tuesday, on Wednesday I could go back, relax on Thursday, and Friday I could still go back, and sometimes even on Saturdays. So the journey started like that. It wasn't easy. Remember therapy, what therapy is for the therapy sessions, like for Precious, is stretching of the muscles, whereby they use olive oil or massage oil, whereby it's used to stimulate the brain through the massage, and it's nothing that is friendly. Usually it's painful because it's stretching of the muscles, literally, and it's not easy. It's not even friendly, whether to the child or even to a grown up. So the journey went on. We went on with the journey, as still we could go back for the medications. At some point when Precious was like 6 months, we decided to Google, me and my husband, Google the medication that Precious was taking, just to get to understand about it, because the hospital was not disclosing to us exactly like what we were treating. And around this time, Precious had gained no milestone at all. Remember, she's our third born, so we know at 6 months what milestones a baby is supposed to have achieved. So 6 months down the line, nothing had happened, no milestone. Therapy was there, and they had told us therapy would help her to gain the milestones. And so we were really, onto it, just taking her for the therapy, hoping that things would be okay. So this 6 months, we decided now to Google the medications and to see them. So what we saw was very discouraging. We saw the condition, like the medications are used to treat this condition, the cerebral palsy, and the condition can even cause death. I'm telling you, at that point, we just said like, no, we will not Google again. Let's just trust God, believe in God, do our part, but more about researching, we will not do it. So we continued, but we still didn't know that the journey ahead of us was to be big and challenging. So we continued with the therapy until when she was 2 years. At 2 years, she hadn't even gained any milestone, of which still today she's 8 years, and still she doesn't have any milestone. But we thank God for her. She's still a blessing the way she is. So at 2 years, there's this place where we used to go for therapy sessions. One day, she had bitten her cheek. So I went for therapy. I told the therapist about it, and the therapist happened to thought that he thought it's a conversion, of which it wasn't. So there's a neuro who partners with that therapy center. So what they do, once you are a member there in that therapy center, they collaborate with the neuro, like the therapy center pays for you half the price, and you pay the other price of the consultation, because it's usually expensive to go and going for a consultation to a neuro. It's something is actually, the prices are high. So we went. Before we went at the therapy center, the therapist needed to write me a letter to take it to the neuro, so for an introduction, because I was new to the neuro. So he wrote the letter for me, and just before I left there, what I used to do immediately after Precious had been attended, had received the therapy sessions, I used to carry for her something like a yogurt or porridge that I could give her, or milk. So yeah, things were done. Then I gave her the milk. I don't remember whether that day I had milk or porridge, but after attending her and everything, so I took the letter, and then I was like, before I take this letter to the neuro, why can't I just open it and just read, just see what they are talking. So that's what I did. I took the letter, I opened, I read it. I'm telling you, I think it was the worst day for me around that time. Because what I saw was nothing had prepared me for that. Because the letter had been written something like, dear so-and-so, please attend this baby, she's a CP case. Oh my goodness, that was the worst day of my life. Because, okay, I had seen other CP kids. And for me and my husband, we didn't know that Precious had CP, even though at the therapy center, we used to interact with mothers, but the therapy center's parents do really interact. So we used to ask, like, we used to interact. The parents would ask, like, someone would ask me, like, Mama Precious, what condition does Precious has? By the way, the condition that the doctor had told us at the hospital was that Precious had something called HI2. HI2, of which we later on came to realize, is a process of getting to CP, but not CP completely. So what I used to tell the parents, that Precious had the condition that is called HI2, and through the medication that she was taking and the therapy, she would be okay. Even though some mothers used to ask me, like, Mama Precious, are you sure about the Precious condition? And I would tell them, like, yeah, since her doctor said like that her condition is that HI2, then it's not CP. But some mothers could tell me, Mama Precious, this HI2, HI2. How comes that it looks like a CP? And then I could tell them, maybe it's something near, but it's not CP. So I could comfort myself the fact that the doctor never told me Precious had CP. So kind of used to relax. But now here I have gotten a letter that is addressing Precious as a CP child. I'm telling you, I broke. My heart was crushed totally. I remember I cried in that therapy center. You know where you cry and you forget, like, there are people around you? It was that bad. I cried. It was bad. Now the therapist got concerned. He came and asked, Mama Precious, do you mean for the last 2 years you have never known that Precious has CP? You have never known your child's condition? I told him what we knew is that Precious had HI2, but not CP. Now he came and he felt so guilty. He was like, oh my goodness, I thought you knew. He thought that every parent knows the child's condition, of which is not like that. Like for us, you see, the information that we are being given was totally different from the exact information. So I really cried. I took time. And then at least they are good. They came, they comforted me. They told me, oh, Precious, don't worry. Even if Precious has CP, she's not the first child. Even look around. There's still other children with CP, and I'm sure you've been seeing them. So what you do, just accept your baby's condition so as you are able to move on. So it wasn't easy. After a while, I cooled down. I was able to take Precious and go home with the letter. So we came home, and I'm the kind of person with my husband, we usually communicate during the day. Like if I'm going somewhere, I tell him, like, sweetie, I'm going this and this, I'll be back at this time. So this day, like we communicate throughout the day. So this day I was like, no, I was not going even to give him the bad news. Usually I'm this kind of wife whereby if I have something that is not so good, a bad news, I don't tell my husband through the phone. I wait for him to come home. And I don't just break the news immediately. I wait like until he has eaten supper, he have relaxed. Yeah. So still I did the same. So he came back in there. So as we were coming from the therapy, he called like, how are you? Have you been attended? How is Precious? I just told him, yeah, everything is okay. But remember the news that already I have, but I couldn't break the news to him. So we got home. I remember I took a photo for Precious. I actually have it somewhere, for the memory, to be remembering that this is the day that Precious, that she was confirmed she's a CP baby. So we came home. It wasn't easy. And somehow a friend of mine came. I don't know. She's called Caro, a very good friend of mine. So she came and at least she changed the atmosphere. We talked and I didn't even tell her much about the news. So at least it was good, whereby I had a friend whereby I changed the focus on Precious so much and we talked of other things. Yeah. So later on she went home. I was left with Precious. The other kids came from school. I kept myself busy, and also I thank God for the therapist and the people at the therapy center. They really gave me hope. They told me it's okay, life will still move on. You just make sure you give Precious what she's supposed to get. Give her your best, whatever you can't change, don't let it kill you. Yeah, I accepted that. It wasn't easy, but I accepted it. So in the evening came, my husband came from job. Like no, usually we said hi, what, supper. Now later on, just before we went to sleep, he asked for the letter because already we had agreed that our patients needed to see a neuro. So he asked for the letter. So I came, I gave him the letter, and I didn't say anything. I just gave him time to read and just check. So after reading it, he was like, have you been knowing that Precious is a CP baby? I told him, no, if I knew, I would have told you. And then he was like, are they sure Precious is a CP baby? So he was like, oh, Precious is a CP baby. How comes for the last 8 years, for the last 2 years, you have never been told, yet we have been seeing the same doctor, and he has never told us the truth about Precious' condition. It really also broke his heart, sorry. He was broken. He was broken. But at least at this point, I was the strong one because already I had gotten the news, and so I had been encouraged. I had been told 1, 2, 3 about it, and I felt better. So I talked to him. I told him what I went through at the therapy center, and also, yeah, he just told me as long as we've been still doing the right thing to Precious, like taking her to the therapy, make sure she's getting the therapy sessions, she's taking the medications. We try to give her a balanced diet and loving her, supporting her. Yes, we are doing the right thing. So we still keep on. And I thank God because he's a good man. His love for me never changed for the family. What he promises is that we will stand together, raise Precious together, and just move on as a family the way we have been doing it. So our life started, another session of life started there.
So to interrupt a bit, were you able to consult the Precious doctor after getting the news now that she has the cerebral pulse?
No.
You didn't went back again?
We didn't. Because we felt that he betrayed us.
Okay.
Why is it that he never told us the exact thing? Why? So we just thought of, actually we decided never to go back to that hospital. Yeah. Even though at that point, the hospital had some wrangles, like the old regime had gone, and a new regime had taken over the hospital. So we actually even had nowhere to get him. Yeah, even though we had his contacts. Yeah.
Okay. After you guys now knew that Precious has that condition, so how did you manage to move on?
Okay, it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. Remember, all through we had assuming that this condition was something that could be treated, but now here we have gotten news that Precious she'll never be able to live a normal life because now we googled CP, we got to know more about it, and it wasn't easy. It was very hard to take it, but since we love her and up to date we still do, we love her so much. So we said, just the way she is, we'll continue loving her, and we'll do our best. We'll do our best. We still, what we used to do, we'll still continue doing it. But it wasn't easy. So I went into a condition that is called denial. Denial is very difficult. This is just after getting the news about Precious. Remember, I had a business, but I had stopped it, just knowing that now I have to be there for Precious throughout. I got to this stage that is called denial. Denial is whereby you look at your baby like this and you wonder, like, now how did this happen? The condition is so expensive to cater for. Here we have diapers that we have to buy every day, like the medications. Her meal, by the way, is different. She doesn't take what we take as a family. Her meal has to be like, for weaning a baby, that soft. Like because she has a problem in swallowing, her throat was also affected. So she's not able to swallow anything that is solid. Like even the ugali, she can't eat a lot of things. So I have to cook like 2 sufurias, food for the family and her food separately. So life was hard, very hard, not easy. And the fact that here we knew as a family that our Precious has to be on this therapy session like for lifetime. And taking her for therapy is never easy. Like the therapy centers are far from home. I had to connect like two vehicles from home. And even getting into a matatu, and remember Precious is growing every time. Yeah, so even carrying her on my back, getting into a matatu, and I had to go very, very early. The other thing about therapy sessions, if you want your child to get a quality therapy, you have to get there very early. As in, you have to be among the first 5 people. Yeah, the first 5 people. So what I used to do, one therapist one day told me, Precious, do you want Precious to, to be getting quality massage, quality therapy? So be doing this. Always make sure you are the first person to get here. So I used to leave the house by 6 in the morning, such that by 6:30, some minutes to 7, I'm already at the therapy center, so that Precious could get, good therapy, quality massage. So it wasn't easy, and I could imagine like this is how life will be from now on. Just even that thought of this child will live to be dependent forever, it wasn't easy. So we moved on like that, encouraging ourselves, hoping for a better day, but knowing the fact that CP is not treatable, is a permanent condition that has no cure. So life was hard, it wasn't easy. I remember even our children came to realize, at some point when they were young, they came to realize like our Precious wasn't growing normally. So because we used to have a neighbor who had gotten a baby the time that Precious was being born, so like they were age mates, and they could notice like the neighbor's baby was getting some milestone with time. Baby could talk, could move around, could get out and play with them, but our Precious was still a baby, like 0 milestones. So at some point they asked me like, Mommy, how comes our baby is Precious is still a baby, she can't do anything to her, for herself. And at some point, me and my husband, we had decided we were not going to break the news to Precious siblings until when they were ready. Yeah, because if they would get to that point whereby they could ask questions about Precious, that meant their brain were ready even to understand how she was getting on and the causes. So at that point we decided like to break the news to them and just let them know about Precious, what happened, and that the condition is permanent, and just everything about it totally. So that day came, we told them exactly everything how it went in the hospital, and how Precious was affected, and how she's going to live with the condition. And I'm telling you, their hearts broke. They cried. They were like, no, why did they do this to our child? Why? And the way Precious was a child, by the way, that was being waited for in our family so much. These 2 kids, they were already asking for a baby before Precious even was conceived. And so we had promised them, one day we'll bring you as a baby, a sibling. So when Precious was, during her pregnancy, like they could see, we used to talk as a family, like we are at month so and so, like 3, 4. In a few months, a baby will be coming, like they could see my, the pregnancy growing. At some point, I used to allow them, just to come and touch my tummy and play with Precious. So they had really burdened with Precious, and they had treasured her so much. So the fact that later on they came to realize their sibling was not going to grow normally, it really hurted them. It really broke their hearts, but we encouraged them. We told them, as a family, let's forgive the hospital. We forgive the doctors who did this, so that we are able to heal, especially for ourselves, and also to be able to give good care to Precious. So that's what we did. Yes, we took time to heal. Yes, we would encourage them. Sometimes they could cry, they could ask questions, but we were always there to answer them, tell them it's okay. Even if Precious is like this, we still continue to love her, support her, and God is in control. No matter what, God is in control. So from that time, actually, they really wanted to be accompanying me for therapy. Every time they could close the school, I'm telling you, we used to go to therapy together with them. Yes, they are 2. So I used to go with 2 of them, and Precious and myself. We could go, whether 3 times a week or 4 times. They never got tired. Up to date, they are never tired of taking care of her.
Precious, wacha nikuulize swali, ask your question.
Yeah.
Now that Precious anapatikana hii condition,
yes,
you have told the news to the siblings.
Yeah.
So I want you to tell us, because these things are very expensive. How did you manage?
Yeah.
Until now you are still continuing. What was how do you get that energy to push yourself till now you are still going on, moving on?
Yeah. Okay. The fact that we love Precious. We love her so much. She's a baby that we wanted even before she was conceived. We really wanted her. So, and we are a family that really loves children. We have 4. and we love them equally, and we don't have a favorite, even though Precious, because of her condition, she happened to be a favorite for the whole family. So our energy never changed for her. We were like, yeah, she's our baby. Even with the challenges, we still love her. Actually, she's the one who needs, more support, more love. Life has never been easy because her care is very expensive, considering the anticonvulsants, the diapers, the therapy. So what we usually do, we do what we are able to afford. Actually, she's also on some sort of milk called Pedisure. This one is for boosting her, her energy, and but then she has low weight. She's what I mean is that her weight is very low. It's low, so she's supposed to be taking this Pedisure to boost her weight. Because of her condition, she's never able to eat enough or eat well, so that she can maintain good kgs. So what we do, we go with what is affordable. Sometimes we don't have money, so what we do, we just buy the normal milk and we give her. That's what we do, because we says we don't have it. It's not that we have it and we are denying her. So what if something is affordable for her, we do it. If it's not affordable, we just let it, as long as God knows we are not denying the baby the rights. But at least what we do, the medication, that one is a must, no matter what. Yeah. And also, you have to do your best. Make sure the baby has the anticonvulsant, because anticonvulsant means sometimes if she does, she can't take it. Or any baby that is under anticonvulsants, in case of missing them, it can mean even death. Yeah, there are some very strong conversion that can come and take her away, because we don't want to risk her life like that. What we do, anytime that we have the money, we make sure we shop enough. Just before they are over, then we restock. Yeah,
Okay, we understand that you have a Precious Blessing Cerebral Pulse Foundation.
Yeah.
At what point did you start, let me have this foundation?
Yeah. Okay. So as I continued with therapy, I used to interact with a lot of parents, and I could hear their desperation of, like being in a group or such. And the other thing that I used to do when I used to take Precious for therapy, but now she gets therapy session at her school, Parklands Primary. They have a wing for cerebral palsy. I really appreciate that, and it means a lot to us. So when I used to take her for the therapy sessions, remember, therapy goes for between 40 minutes and 50 minutes. So what I used to do, I never used to leave Precious alone, like go dump her to the therapist and go and settle, of which some mothers do that, and no, you shouldn't do that like that. What you are supposed to do is to go there, engage the therapist all the time that you are there. Every time that the therapist is attending your child, try to get more information about the therapy, about the condition. Yeah, that's what I used to do. I could ask a lot of questions, like, is this all that you can do for Precious to get well? Is it that there are no medication, there is no cure? Like, I got a lot of information through the therapist, because I really used to interact with them. So that one really helped me. Even now, it gave me a lot of information, a lot of knowledge about CP, even though still I do the research. So as I continued with that, I noted the need for parents, to belong to a support group, to belong to a group whereby they can share with parents and with children with the same condition. So some years back, I used to tell my husband, one day in future, I'll open a children's home. Yeah, that was my dream, whereby, I was thinking like one day we'll have a children's home whereby we'll be looking for children that are, maybe neglected or they are thrown somewhere, something like that. But now after Precious was born, I kind of changed the dream from the children's home to a therapy center, a school for a special school, and a hospital for the children, for the special children. So I shifted the dream from that one to this one. So I decided to be doing something that is called cerebral palsy awareness. That was now after going through the denial stage, and by the grace of God, our hearts were healed. My heart was healed for my husband and the family, whereby we appreciate Precious just the way she is. We take her just the way she is, and we love her so much. We accepted the condition, and we decided like to be there for her fully. So what I did is that I never used to be on Facebook, but now since my heart was hid, I decided to go to Facebook and see like what is there, what are the things that people are talking. And then I noted there wasn't anyone who was talking about CP, cerebral palsy, a condition that Precious has. So I didn't have so much confidence. So I would go there, create an account today, post Precious photo, see how people would comment about it. And then I could feel like I didn't see a baby like Precious. So what are people saying? And maybe I could get like 5 likes only, and that could disappoint me. So tomorrow I could go back, delete the account, create another one, put a different photo. I did like that for a while, and then until one day I was like, no, I think I should be here encouraging people, creating awareness of this condition, cerebral palsy, letting people know about it, how one gets it, how one can manage it. And so I gained confidence. I decided at some point now, this is the time. And so I created my account by the name Blessings Bonnie. Those are 2 names. One is for Precious, one is for my husband. And I treasured the names. I said, this one now, this account, I'll never delete it. This one, like, it's mine. It's for my people, So I started by still the same thing, posting Precious photo, just writing a little thing. And then I noted people could like it. People could comment. Some people could come to my messenger and say like, Mom Precious, you have such a baby? I could tell them, yeah. Like, is that really your baby? Or someone, I could tell them, no, she's my baby. And then they were like, you're not even ashamed of posting such a baby? I could tell them like, no, she's my baby just the way she is. She's mine. I love her. And I don't care what people could say. So day by day, gradually, I could find myself writing maybe a whole paragraph about CP. And then I could find people loving it. I started getting some media, invitations just to go educate the baby. And then I could go with my baby, with Precious now. And people could be like, wow, Mom Precious, what you are doing is good. There I started getting encouraged. I found myself firm now in doing the cerebral palsy awareness. Now, because I had said I'll gather, the children for a children's home. So here, I shifted to gathering the special parents, because here I had already gotten a lot of special parents. Most of them, they were not posting their babies, but through their parents, through their relatives or friends, someone could refer me to them, you see. So they kind of gotten to know me. They could follow me, but silently. And then they could come to my messenger and we could interact there. So what I decided with time is to create, a WhatsApp group. A WhatsApp group for them, whereby we could interact one-on-one, whereby I noticed, a WhatsApp group is better rather than, having your topic on Facebook, whereby it's open. And I remember some parents are still in denial. They are in different stages of, accepting the condition. So at least the WhatsApp group is good, because it's kind of having some, what do we call it? Like it's not exposed, it has some privacy. Yeah, exactly, some kind of privacy. So that's what I did. I opened the WhatsApp group. I asked the parents to, I went there on Facebook. I told them to send me their contacts on Messenger, whereby they did it. So I created the WhatsApp group, and there people started communicating, talking, asking questions. Whereby the best thing about our WhatsApp group is that we are there with different ages of our children. Like some kids are younger than Precious, some are very, elder, like elderly, like maybe even 20 years. So what we do in the group, if you have a question or something that you're feeling like you're not understanding about the condition, you just come in the group and ask, and always you get somebody to answer you, enlighten you. So whereby we feel like a family. And this group, I said I need for CP owning, such that we are understanding each other. When I say Precious is not seated, she's not eating, she's not able to swallow, like all of us in the group, we are understanding each other. So the group is very helpful, very educative, and we feel like, we are a family. Because unfortunately, most of the parents who are blessed with their CP children are forsaken, they are neglected, even by their own family members, their parents, sometimes, unfortunately, even by the spouses. So you find that parent is a special parent, is a desperate person, but has no one to talk to, has no friend, has no one to encourage. But now in the group, we feel we are a family, we are there for each other. So so far we are 115 of us. At some point, I decided to register this group as a foundation, And remember, when you are a leader of, whether it's a WhatsApp group or as long as you have a gathering whereby you are leading it, people will always come back to you and ask you for, some guidance, some questions, some sort of help. So people could come to me and ask, Mama Precious, we need diapers. We need some foodstuffs. Like today, I only have only these 2 diapers. How are you going to help me? And I'm kind of this person who is generous. Even if I had a pack and someone is asking for diapers, I tell them to come. They come, we share whatever I have. We share with them, trusting the Lord that tomorrow will be a better day and we'll still get them. So I registered the group as a foundation. So far, what we do, what we are doing, okay, our certificate is in the process of, being issued. It's just that there has been a lot of delays, but I'm sure very soon it will be out, and it will really help us also, to go to organizations, some other like offices, to ask for the help, and they'll be able, to support us. The fact that we'll have a certificate, it will show that we are legal people, a legal group that is also known by the government. So what usually I do, because already I know the needs of my people, and I've said so far we are like 115. I decided to just to be at that number and not to add, because CP cases are so many, and we have members that comes even from Mombasa, Nakuru, Naivasha, Gilgil, Moranga, like Kitui. So far, we are not limited in Nairobi only, but most of us are in Nairobi, but we still have a good number of people who comes from other counties. But what I say, as long as you qualified, like you have the CP child, and you are someone who is manageable, like you can be in the group, and you are friendly to the members, that is all that we need. So far, then we are that 115, and at the moment, I'm not adding more because of the needs that are there, like getting diapers, even for the 115 parents or kids, is never easy. Going asking someone for the help, those diapers will cost almost 200,000. Is never easy. So that's why so far I've just stopped there. But in future, I'm sure we are going to add. If I can get like donors or people of goodwill just to boost us, to be assisting us with the things that we need, I'm sure I will add more.
So far, have you gotten any help from maybe the NGOs, government so far?
Okay.
Is there any help you've got?
Yeah. All right. So far, I haven't gotten any help from the government or NGOs. What I do, as you can see here, there are some photos. I approach friends, I approach people for the donations, and especially my church. My church has been good. They have been supporting us. Like they have even given us a venue. One of the churches.
Which church is that?
I fellowship at Deliverance Church, KPCU building in town. But I'm not limited because of the ministry that I do. Sometimes I'm invited at Majestic City to do the awareness, cerebral palsy awareness. But the main church whereby we do our events is Deliverance Church to Rivers, and Pastor and Reverend Margaret Moshai. Yeah, you can see her there. That's where we do all our events. So far we have had several events whereby me and my church, we ask people to help us with the things that we need, foodstuffs and the diapers. And the other thing that we do really need are the wheelchairs and the assistive devices. And it has not been easy to find them. It has been a journey of ups and downs. I have gotten people who had promised to give us, but then at the end of the day, they change their mind. They are like, Mama Precious, why don't you give me 15K per each wheelchair? And mind you, around that time, I have like 63 kids who needs the wheelchairs. By the way, I don't work. My work is, staying at home, watching over Precious, taking good care of her. Like I can't even afford one wheelchair to buy for a child. So such a deal, I just let it go. And I trust God that a day will come when I will get it. Then I still also met someone else who was asking for 5K per wheelchair. And still I told that person, no, I couldn't afford that. Went down up to like 500 per wheelchair. And then the person was like, no, that deal is not doable, let it just stay. And then I just trusted the Lord that it will be well, it will be well. And then, because God is faithful, just the other day, I got a connection of getting the wheelchairs, the devices, the assistive devices for free. And God is so faithful. The wheelchairs are imported, and the person agreed to be giving us the wheelchairs. Anytime in the foundation we have a need for a wheelchair, they will be offering us for free. So it's worth waiting sometimes.
Okay, maybe to ask, maybe someone is watching this video. You don't know who is watching right now. Maybe he wants to give you guys an help.
Yeah.
What is that thing that you say, at least if you help her with this thing, or
Yeah.
any donation you have,
Yeah.
what kind of need you want, that need, thing that you guys need urgently?
Okay. Something that we really need urgently, diapers. We really need diapers. If we can get also food donations and also the anticonvulsants, they are usually very expensive and our children must take them. Those three things are urgent. The other thing that we really need is a therapy center, a school for the children, and a hospital. Yeah, those three things again. Generally, we have 6 needs that we really have, but we have once the 3 that are urgent and 3 that are wrong and dream. That if one day we'll have a therapy center whereby our children can come and be receive the therapy sessions for free, I will feel my heart, my dream is true. I'll see my dream has come true, and a school especially. Remember, our children needs a special school with special teachers, and they are very limited in our country. Like for us, where we live, and where Precious schools, she schools in Parklands Primary School. They have a wing for special children, and as we live somewhere near Buruburu, you see the difference. The distance is very huge. So at the moment, actually, she's not even going to school because of the lack of transport. That is also very challenging. So I'm trusting God, if one day we can have a school for our own, and our school will be, a boarding school, whereby these parents will be able to come, leave the children with me, and we'll have the caregivers there. The workers will be taking care of the children. Such a parent will leave the child, go and work, maybe come after a week or some days to just come and check on the baby. And then maybe when school closes, if a parent wants to take the child home for the holiday, and then when the schools opens, they brings back the child to us, that will be okay. That's part of my dream.
Okay, maybe
Yes.
tukimalizia,
Yes.
can you tell people maybe how they can reach you guys?
Yeah.
Maybe the number or where they can get you so that you get the help.
Okay. In case you want to reach to me and to be a blessing to Precious Blessings Cerebral Foundation, you can talk to me. My number is 0724 661967. 0724 661967.
So they can call or text anywhere.
Yeah, you can call or you can text. I will receive your calls. Thank you.
Oh, thanks so much for sharing this story. I hope people will watch this story, get inspired. Maybe those guys who are not able to show up their kids, they get encouraged.
Yeah.
Maybe they can reach out to you, give them advice.
Yeah.
Even though you say you are a fool already, but you can give them advice.
Yeah.
So thanks so much for sharing this story.
Yeah.
And I hope it will reach to people and the help will come. Who trust in the Lord.
Yeah, true.
Okay, asante sana.
Very true. Kuna place sikutaja.
Okay.
Yeah, I wanted to appreciate my husband. He has been such a good supporter and such a strong source of strength. Yeah, he's good. He has been supporting us so much. Like anything that is within his reach, he makes sure we get it, and he really loves Precious. And so because of that, I want to reach out to other families that are blessed with special children. Kindly never feel ashamed of your child. Remember, the child is yours, and that child has you only. The child needs you for support, and you mean everything to that child or to your loved one who is having a condition or a disability. So love on them. Don't feel ashamed. Support them. Do what you are able to do. Anything that is beyond you, don't let it kill you, but at least be there for your loved one. There's a reason why God gave you that person, that child, to take care of. Yeah. I ask myself, why is it that God never give my neighbor, a special child, but he chose me? It's because there is a reason. Like for Precious, in the foundation, it's very funny. One thing that it tells me is that Mama Precious, Precious was born like this for us. Like if she was not born, being a CP baby, we will not be knowing you. Like the things that we get through Precious, we will not be getting them. But because she was born with the CP, it means she was born for us. So I appreciate God for her. You see, if it is very true, if she was not born a CP baby, I would not be here. Even creating the awareness or sourcing, looking for sourcing, help for the foundation. But because God had a plan, He had a mission. He was there when Precious was being born, even though she went all through what she went through, but the Lord sustained her. Yeah, it's like the hospital had given up on her. They were like, let the baby die, we save the mother. But God had a mission for Precious. That's why she's here. We are talking about her. We have the foundation in honor of her name. And yeah, we never give up. We keep on. We're keeping on. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.